Welcome back to our channel Breaking News. As usual, we are going to discuss a controversial topic, the second wave of coronavirus in Europe. But now with a different dynamic because we have a forum with special guests that represent France. And also we open a section of questions and answers. So let me introduce them. Business Director of Lafarge Holcim Industries, Jair Orte. Business Director of Air France, Raimundo Perez. Doctor of Petit Salpêtrière Hospital and Government Advisor, Victoria Perez. Government Representative, Hector Martinez. Sociologist and researcher, Victor Gaitán. And epidemiologist, Hector Adrián Hernández. First of all, thank you all for being here and attend to our invitation. In a moment, we start with the forum. Thank you. Well, advancing to the program and to get into context, we are going to see the current status of Europe and mainly France, but first of all emphasizing how this situation achieved a great unification and alignment in a strategy of the prompt action to take at the same time of judgment and constant update information in the European Union, in the ECDC, in order to have a common policy as quick as were to face the excessive increase in coronavirus infection positive case. As we can see, last week of October, more than half of Europe is in red, with maximum risk with more of 50 cases per 100,000 people with 4% positive test. An estimate indicates that there are 50,000 COVID-19 cases daily, and that the total spike highest since April. It should be noted that this was also pronounced by Emmanuel Macron, President of France. Likewise, we can see another graphic where it shows the trend of new confirmed COVID-19 cases. And since the progressive lockdown plan, there was a decrease in cases at the same time that an our projection was seen or expected since August. In other words, a second wave. Nowadays, France registered 1,200,079,384 infected and 35,820 deaths, a higher rate than one day of April when the pandemic strikes most strongly France. So, we are in a critical scenario where the attempt to consolidate the European stability is being seen in risk and with more force of decline. To talk more about what is happening, let's continue with the report of my partner Carlos, who is today in Paris. Good afternoon, Carlos. Go ahead with you. Thank you.
France became the second European country after Ireland to implement a new lockdown, planning for 1 month allowed with more reception than in March. So it calls for citizens' responsibility to contain the virus. The crisis of the coronavirus has left millions of dollars in loss in France and one of the sectors most affected in tourism. This week, the French government spoke about the terrible loss in tourism caused by the health emergency. According to the authorities, the figure is between 40 billion euros. This number corresponds to analysis of the summer season, commonly referred to as the summer season. One of the every two hotels is closed and the lorry received 10,000 visitors and died instead of the 50,000.
Thank you, Carlos. Let's continue with a fragment of an interview with the Director of Health Emergency, Jonathan Duarte.
Talking about the second wave, current COVID-19 pandemic, in mentioned below and in collaboration by the organization PIA to ensure the expected growth in the region is very worrying. At the moment, 2 or 3 times more cases of COVID-19 are registered per day with respect to the peak of the average curve, although the number of deaths is 5 times lower. Mentioned by another compatriot, doctor and the regional director of Europe of the ONIEMS. In this second wave of COVID-19 in Europe, the continent and record the highest weekend of virus case since the start of pandemic, with almost 700,000 report cases. Quarantine of coronavirus is the 5th landing cause of death in Europe, and 2,000 deaths have been recorded in one day. Confirmed case known exceed 7 million, going from 6 to 7 million case in just 10 days on IM's site. COVID-19 infection increase in Europe. Okay. Mobile average over 7 days of daily case and 400,000 inhabitants in the section of country. France is also experiencing the second wave of COVID-19. In the last 24 hours, it's accounted for 32,543 new cases of COVID-19. October 15 and 88 deaths. In total, French registered 780,994 new cases of coronavirus up to 16 October and 32,868 deaths. Corrective action. The President Emmanuel Macron commented that the curve will be enforced in 9 cities in France and will lapse at least 1 month to face COVID-19. People who do not comply with the instruction will be sanctioned and will be a fine of 135 euros.
Well, let's start with the forum and the questions Q&A. We extend the invitation of our viewers to join this broadcast and to tell us your doubts and your opinions about it. Good, we have our first call. Welcome. What is your name?
Hi, my name is Susana. My family and me are coronavirus survivors. How long or how much that we need to see to take awareness about these elements and understand that this season again. I know that some of are in a different situation that doesn't allow stay on quarantine, but we have to consider that we are reaching a point where we be more probabilities of infect us or compromise like citizens and act like if we infected, and thus decrease the probability of infecting or being infected. I would like the experts share more about the topic and the government take his responsibility to lead our country to face in a better way this second wave of coronavirus. I know that it's a big challenge, but united we are strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Susana. That is true. In March, when quarantine begins, The government, due to the shortage of masks, mentioned that were harmful to health and useless to stop the infection. And then in July or August, say that were necessary. And until now, are working to establish a rule to wear the mask in all places. And also, if the government knew an outlook of the possibility of a second wave in Europe, why they relax the restrictions and rules of preventive measures? Was it to calm the situation or the discontent of the people? I think that Hector can help us with that. Can you answer this, Hector, please?
I agree that the pressure is going on the French government to demand the use of face mask in the workplace and in public areas due to an increase in coronavirus case, and it's a fact tax there is disagreement on the part of the population, because we are working again in implement confinement in the Paris this Saturday. Expanded the areas where face mask must be wear, and it is true that the progressive lockdown was to control it. The epidemic institute in France has to be worsening for several weekends, and the particular in recent days because we returned to levels of infection that had not been recorded since May. Although the increase is partly attributed to more diagnostic tests be done, the rate of positive tests is also growing. However, the number of COVID patients in French hospital and intensive care unit has not increased so far.
And it is true that Paris and Marseille are declared as zones as active virus circulation.
Yes, so the Paris police can do not close, cough, and any gathering of more than 10 people where distance and other hygiene measures are not respected.
Okay.
And required in hundreds of French cities, but the rules vary widely. French High Council of Public High published new highlights on Friday recommend the systematic use of masks in all closed college places, public and private, including workplace. An interesting date is that about half of France current virus closet started in the workplace.
Okay, thank you. And what do you think about this information provided by Hector Jair? How did COVID-19 affect Plafar Holcim?
The truth is that it affects us in many aspects. The first aspect is money. The sales fell down. In pandemic times, nobody thinks in building or remodeling their homes, less to building buildings or stadiums, and good reason. The main French construction companies were forced to stop the constructions as well as export to other countries. I will show you a graphic where you can see how the sales fell down. You can see the graphic.
What are you doing to avoid more infected in your company?
No matter where we operate, we have robust protocols and procedures in place. Our governance structure allows us to monitor compliance and training to ensure all our sites are compliant and set up to successfully implement a safe and healthy operation. For example, on our sites, on the road and on our custom sites. We provide employers with N95 masks and facial shields, and we install sanitation customs in strategic points. We are also fortunate that at many operational sites, it's fairly easy to apply social distances measured. The average aggregated sites or cement plant offer a lot of space per person. Local teams implement measures that are appropriate to their sites and needs, and they are sharing with other teams across the world.
Have you a message for people in home?
We look forward to time when we can relax the measures that apply only to COVID-19. Until that time, we will continue doing all we can to remain healthy and safe.
For your part, Raimundo, how has Air France dealt with COVID-19 situation? We know that according to the updated information of ECDC, the flights or travels are more restricted, as we see in the graphic.
Well. Air France has announced that in the fourth semester of the year, the average of the seats available on our flights is going to be 35%. With this, the company reported losses over $1,070 million. With this, the company predicts that in the end of the year, the profit is going to be less than half than 2019, not counting the winter holidays. Well, the company has been in trouble. With all these things of the pandemic, Air France has been seen in the need of adaptive flights according without the restrictions due to the COVID-19, like adapted planes to bring just a few quantity of people to avoid crowd. So not only we have to reduce the capacity of the flights, also we have to reduce the frequency of our takeoffs and landfills. In conclusion, this pandemic has affected the tourism of the country, and when we saw a little window of the end of this problem, unfortunately we fell down and in the same trouble. And all this for not follow the rules. That's it.
Thank you, Raimundo. There is a second call. Hi, what is your name?
Hi, my name is Juan. I am a medical student, and this pandemic affected me in many ways. First of all, with the online class because I don't understand the 19% of all my class in the university. At the same time, data practice in labs are a job, and also not see my friends. So I can say that other students are living in continuous streets. Therefore, I have a question. The first one is for a government. The school will close again? The second and the third one for a doctor. Is there a truly effective way to prevent infection? And is it possible to have a vaccine in 2021? And the last one for the first director. What are the biggest steps you take to prevent the contagions? Thank you for your answers.
How are you, Juan? At the moment, the school remain open unless there's in a update in the week according to the strategy to take.
Hi, Juan. Giving answer to your question, the disease is transmitted by what are called droplets. These are invisible secretions that are projected during a discussion, sneezing, or coughing. The postilions correspond to the visible droplets, but most of the droplets are not. So, close contact with a sick person is the main mode of transmission of the disease, especially when you live or work with them and you have direct contact within a minute during a discussion, a cough, or a sneeze. Without protective measures, in brief contact with unwashed hands or surface contaminated with a droplet is the mainly risk of contamination. It's very important to understand how the disease is transmitted for a not get infected. I will give you a list of the typical ways of transmission. By projections of droplets contaminated by a carrier, by coughing, sneezing, or in the event close contact in the absence of protective measures, and without ventilation due to contaminated droplets are inhaled or by the healthy person and trigger the disease. By indirect contact with objects or surface contaminated by a carrier, the virus is then transmitted to the healthy person who handles these objects when they put their hands to their mouths, by a hair, mainly in a confined space. For that reason, the best protections to prevent these lines are barrier measures, physical distancing measures, and regular ventilation of rooms. Likewise, it's very important to know which are the symptoms of COVID-19 to get help at an early stage and be able to recover from home and certain treatments as well as avoid infecting more people and isolate yourself and proceed with the established protocol of attention to the COVID-19 can manifest itself by fever or a feeling of fever, chills like hot cold, cough, headache, body ache, unusual fatigue, sudden loss of smell, or complete disappearance of taste or diarrhea. In more serious forms, breathing difficulties which can lead to hospitalization and intensive care of even death. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And let's go with the third question with Adrian. Go ahead.
Hi. To answer the third question is the following. Everyone is wondering how close France is to have a vaccine, right? Well, the head of France's official COVID-19 vaccine committee says that they are still optimistic about a vaccine being available this year, 2020. Dr. Mary Paul Kinney told The Connection that a vaccine before the end of the year is possible, but it will not be a magic bullet, and coronavirus-related restrictions will remain in place longer. She said that even if a vaccine becomes available, supplies of it will be limited until the middle of 2021, and it will mostly be given to high-risk groups first. She also mentioned that a vaccine will not mean the end of wearing masks, social distancing, and barrier gestures. COVID-19 is an unexplored field that is still being explored.
Okay, and let's finish with the fourth question with Jair.
The mainly step to prevent this illness is creating people awareness, because without their help, the company can continue working and at the same time to look for a strategy to remain job positions, create saving projects, and adapt to the demands of the new reality.
Thank you for that question and your answer. I think that in this part, Victor can share with us important and valuable information. Go ahead with you, Victor.
Question, Nayeli. Thank you for the invitation.
Welcome.
The pandemic is increasing demand for mental health services. Government isolation, loss of income, and fears are triggering mental health condition or exacerbating existing one. Many people be facing increased levels of alcohol and drug use, insomnia, and anxiety. Meanwhile, COVID-19 itself can lead to neurological and mental complications such as delirium, agitation, and stroke. People with pre-existing mental, neurological, or substance use disorder are also more vulnerable to SARS-CoV-2 infection. So they may stand a higher risk of severe outcomes and even death. For that reason, I invite each one of you to look for help if you are in this situation. We are facing difficult times, and all together can go through this in better way.
Well, this program getting to the end. Thank you very much for each one of you for your time and for all the information that you share with us. As well as our viewers, if you want to know more about it and official information or protocols in case that you have symptoms of COVID or any other type of health, we invite you to visit our website and look the link below. And don't doubt to pay help or giving us your opinions. Well, see you soon, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
See you. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
See you.